Well, breaking fuck the news. It is being reported that a man in a red car rammed his vehicle through a police barricade at the same location that the other domestic terrorist attacked the Church of Latter-day Saints in Michigan. He had a weapon in the front seat, and he is now in police custody. There's no other information at this time, but I'll keep you updated with more of the shit show.
Right now, we're following more breaking news out of Grand Blanc Township in Michigan, where 4 people were killed Sunday in a church attack. Police are swarming a vehicle that just drove through a barricade. I want to go live right now to CNN's Lee Waldman. She's on the scene for us. What do you know, Lee? What is happening?
Well, just shortly after we spoke to you moments ago, we looked and we saw officers running from what appears to be the command center here, running towards the barricade that's in place there. And you can see that red vehicle that they're still inspecting. We can see it appears to be FBI agents there. We've seen state police who was there, and we heard officers talking. They said that the man drove through a barricade and there was a gun in the front seat of that car. Now, we have colleagues who are at a different angle. They got some video as well, and from their video, it appears that this is some kind of a long gun in the front seat of that vehicle. Now, officers, again, overhearing what they were talking about, they said that they have that man in custody. We believe he is in that police vehicle that's right besides that red vehicle there that you can see officers still focusing on there. Now, we did some brief research before talking to you, Wolf, and we know that Michigan does have an open carry law here. You still are required to have a back. We looked and we saw officers running from what appears to be the command center here, running towards the barricade that's in place there. And you can see that red vehicle that they're still inspecting. We can see it appears to be FBI agents there. We've seen state police who was there, and we heard officers talking. They said that the man drove through a barricade and there was a gun in the front seat of that car. Now, we have colleagues who are at a different angle. They got some video as well, and from their video, it appears that this is some kind of a long gun in the front seat of that vehicle. Now, officers, again, overhearing what they were talking about, they said that they have that man in custody. We believe he is in that police vehicle that's right besides that red vehicle there that you can see officers still focusing on there.
Just one day after the deadly attack at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, a new incident stoked tensions and raised more questions. A red car drove directly through a police barricade that had been set up around the crime scene. Eyewitnesses and police say a gun was visible on the front passenger seat. The driver didn't flee far. Law enforcement stopped the vehicle roughly a quarter mile from the barricade and promptly handcuffed the individual. As of now, their identity has not been disclosed, and the motive remains unclear. This event comes on the heels of a mass shooting at the same church, where the assailant rammed his truck into the sanctuary, opened fire on worshipers, and then set the building ablaze. 4 people were killed, 8 more were injured, and the suspect was killed by police at the scene. Authorities say they are treating the barricade breach seriously. It's not yet known whether the red car incident is connected to the previous day's violence or a separate act entirely. Investigators are combing through surveillance footage, vehicle registration, and any possible links between the driver and the church or its community. In times of tragedy, behavior near the scene can reflect lingering threats or opportunism. This breach reminds us how volatile situations remain and how much pressure law enforcement faces in securing sites of recent violence. For now, the community and law enforcement alike are holding their breath. This latest incident deepens the urgency to understand what's really happening around that church and whether more danger might be close.
Y'all, tell me why another man drove his red car through the police barricade of the church, right, of Latter-day Saints that was just shot up. It is reported that the man had a long gun in the front seat. Yeah, that Mormon church in Michigan of Latter-day Saints. What is going on? Why everybody mad at them? Aside the fact that they're racist. So here's the rundown, right? On Sunday, a 40-year-old white man rammed his truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc in Michigan. And this happened while service was going on. He opened fire on the worshipers, set the building on fire, and got into a shootout with police where he died. And then, y'all, the very next day, a 21-year-old man comes barreling through the barricade in a red car. And surprise, surprise, he had a rifle sitting in the front seat, of course. Now the question is, was this a copycat, a coordinated thing, or just another example of how America breeds violence like it's part of the national diet? Either way, churchgoers are dead, families are broken, and investigators still won't confirm a motive. But here's a fact. This isn't random. This is systemic chaos. It's a symptom, and until we face what's fueling this, which would be white supremacy, extremism, and easy access to guns, then it's gonna keep happening. 2 days and 2 different men? 6 different shootings in what, 78 hours? 48 hours? But no, tell us again how the problem is DEI.
Well, guys, I just did my little deep dive on X. The red hats, the conservative, the Klan members aren't blaming us. They're blaming the Mormons. They were like, well, the guy who popped Charlie Kirk, it was under a post where the guy who did the shooting posted on his Facebook a picture of a RIP to Charlie Kirk. And in the comments of this post on X, they were like, well, the Mormons raised that dude, so it was bound to happen eventually. Then the comments proceeding underneath that were, yeah, the Mormons are the problem in America too. We might as well just ship them off like the rest of them. These motherfuckers are fucking nuts. They're really crazy, bro. We got MAGA versus the Groypers. We got conservatives versus MAGA and the Groypers. We have Republicans against the conservatives, the Groypers, and the MAGA. We got the Mormons versus all of them. You got half of them on the side of Israel, the other half they're saying fuck them. God. The evangelists, Christians, don't think Mormons are real Christians. These niggas is deep beefing. When I say they set tripping right now, bro.
I really wasn't going to post today, but then people got to go driving into churches because Morca. So this was the truck. I had to make sure because I saw other white trucks that had driven into churches, again, because Morca. And this is really interesting because it's a 40-year-old white male. They're not really reporting that on mainstream media. And given that truck, I can see why. You know, haven't heard of any writing on the casings, haven't had any step-by-step notes about how exactly he did this. And you know, I get it. The whole thing's so frustrating because we've had just, the last 2 weeks of everything's the radical left and stuff. And this is because of his beliefs. That's what the memorial was about. This is, you know, against Christianity. And this is what they were going to try and use for propaganda. And yet here we are. Because it is very likely that he was some kind of Christian or somebody and was wanted revenge for what happened to CK. I think a lot of people that have never been around the Mormon cult or maybe even Christianity in general, I think people look at it as just like they're all Christians, so just different kinds of Christians, but like not really. In the Mormon cult, you are taught you are not like the others. And specifically, Christians, no. Catholics were the great and abominable church, not Protestant, not like, they made you feel icky around them, like kind of scared or nervous. Like I know people that would get invited to other people's churches and they'd have panic attacks in there because the Mormons believe they only have the one true church and you got to baptize everybody, dead or alive. Okay, we've baptized Elvis 5,000 times. Anne Frank, she's a marathon baptized person. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marilyn Monroe, yes. In the afterlife, they're all Mormon. So, but Christians believe, a lot of them believe Mormons are a cult, which it is a cult. But they very much are different from them too. Now, the Mormon cult has tried to fit in more with Christians because Mormons have a hard time keeping people. Like they are losing members rapidly. So now they want to fit in more. They've changed their garments. You can wear a cross pendant now. I see that on here and it is so strange to me because before it was like it would burn a hole in your skin. You were terrified of them. And you know, tattoos isn't that big of a deal. More than one piercing isn't, coffee, not that big of a deal. So they've been more relaxed about certain things for PR. But, a lot of members believe how CK did, like, it's worth the sacrifice and people have to die to keep the Second Amendment, and people just stick. And they had a first-hand experience of that. And a lot of people that vote that way, they don't see what happens to those kids or the nightclub or whatever. Like, they've been lucky enough to just hear about it on the news. But this is probably going to become more commonplace. Look how many shootings we've had the last couple days. This is going to continue. What is it? The beatings will continue until, till we get this right. The beatings will continue. This is going to get scarier. It's going to get wonkier. This is like a religious, spiritual, political, societal earthquake. Like, we are trying to shake this back to being good humans and stop this mayhem. And sometimes mayhem happens before that, right? Darkest before the dawn. So when it feels scary, remember darkest before dawn. But I also tell you guys, that there's factions over there on the right. There's different factions, and you're starting to see that between Tucker and Candace and Nick Fuentes, and then there was CK and Trump and JD and Peter Thiel. Like, they all have their own agenda, no matter what sign they're painted under. And the churches over there are the same. And especially with Project 2025, I've done several videos where I said, look, these churches have beef because this is about money at the end of the day, right? And Mormons, they are the wealthiest church on the planet. They have more money than fake God, and they want to keep it, right? They charge you 10% to be in there, or else you'll never see your kids again. It's coercion, it's emotional blackmail. That's how they run their church. People do things for free. There's tons of free labor. And not only that, you have to fast once a week for however many meals, and you're supposed to donate that many. Kids go on missions, they pay for the missions, and they are sent out to be rejected by the world, come back and go, oh my gosh, I feel at home, I feel safe here, and to have them be more allegiant and convince them that the world is scary and they hate you. And as they think that, the church, or that Trump and this administration is going to keep power, they want to make sure they're the top church, because they don't want to give up their tithing. They don't want to give up people going to the temples. They don't want to give up all the real estate. So they want to make sure that they're very fortified and close to the administration, like Elon Musk's right-hand guy is Mormon. A lot of people in the FBI are Mormon, CIA. So they try and be very close in the government. Anyway, so you have the factions in the politics, but you have it in the churches too. So when I say this is an earthquake, it really is, because it's really hard to keep saying the left is, out to get us because of our beliefs, when it's other churches doing these things. And obviously this person had a mental health issue. That's ultimately what these things are. But it will be interesting to see, they'll probably just try and be real quiet about this and get away from it, because it's real hard to pin this on a radical lefty right now. And, pointing to the left and right is never going to get us anywhere. And I keep showing you guys people are leaving, and we have to unite with the people that say that they want unity to stop this. Like, when we do protests, people should all be in purple. You should have people that want this together. And the other thing is, too, is these churches have supported Israel. And the people on the right are waking up to the monster that the Israeli government is. Like, for the first time, they're going, oh my gosh, the genocide. Yeah, for the first time. They have different algorithms. They have different news than you. And they're going to friends and family going, did you know about this? No. I guarantee you my mom's friends don't know anything about the genocide. So, like I said, a lot of things are being shaken up and woken up, and we're just going to have to ride this out. And as long as we stick together, we can do that. As long as we are kind to the people on the right that are saying, I don't want to choose sides. I just want us to unite and do what we have to do to get through this and get the bad guys out of here and take care of each other and help each other. That's where we need to stay. That's what we need to do. That's why I think it's safer in protests if we have both groups there. We're in purple. Because if you get crazy people out there like this guy, which one do you choose? We're all purple, and they've all voted different ways. That's why uniting keeps us safer, and it keeps us stronger. So, lots of lessons learned today, I hope.